we will be talking about a very, we can say, important and the most common mistakes that the students make while speaking English, while writing English, or while communicating. So here we will be discussing about the term errors. Now errors are basically the mistakes that people make while communicating in English. The errors can be as anything. It can be as nouns, it can be as pronouns. The errors can be while talking about tenses. So English, is very complicated language. And in order to understand English, in order to talk in English, we first need to understand the basic concepts of English, which means that the basics should be very clear. So we are going to discuss the most common mistakes that people make in pronouns. So here basically we will be focusing on the errors which are made in pronouns. Now pronouns, we know, are basically those words which are used as a replacement for noun. Replacement for noun means it is used in place of noun. And why it is used in place of noun? In order to avoid the repetition of the nouns again and again. Like I say, Sita is a beautiful girl. Sita lives near my house. Sita goes with me to school. Sita plays with me. Now Sita is being repeated again and again. In order to avoid that repetition, instead of Sita we will say she. Why? Because Sita is a girl, and for girl we make use of the pronoun she. So I will say Sita is a beautiful girl. She lives near my house. That makes a meaningful sentence instead of using the noun again and again. So here we are going to discuss the general mistakes that are made in pronouns. So first we will be discussing the mistakes which are made in the type of pronoun which is reflexive pronoun. So first is errors in reflexive pronoun. Now before we move ahead in errors, first we need to understand what are reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are all those pronouns which are used to denote the subject. Like I am talking of the person who is the subject, or I am pointing out towards the subject of the sentence. So in that case, I will be making use of the reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronoun always ends with self. For example, myself, himself, themselves, herself, etc. And here if I use myself as a reflexive pronoun, which means that the subject will start from I. If I am using themselves as a reflexive pronoun, it means that the subject will be they. Similarly, if I am using himself, it will be he. He will be my subject. So whatever is the subject, so will be my reflexive pronoun. Example, I say, for example, I say they enjoyed them at the party. So when I am saying they enjoyed them at the party, this is my wrong sentence, and the error, if I ask to point out the error will be them. Why? Because if I am talking about a reflexive pronoun will always be relatable to the subject. The subject over here is they, and a reflexive pronoun always ends with self. So they will turn to them plus selves. So I will say they enjoyed themselves at the party. This will be my correct sentence. Them is the error over here, and them will change to themselves. to the party. Now when I say we will go myself to the party, we changes to ourselves. So myself over here is wrong. Either I will say I will go myself to the party or we will go ourselves to the party. So this sentence is wrong. Instead we will say we will go ourselves to the party. Or we will say we will go ourselves to the party. This is my correct sentence because every person will go himself. So we will go ourselves to the party is the correct sentence. This is the error which is commonly made in reflexive pronouns. So now let us understand more concepts about the errors in pronouns. So the second concept is the errors made in persons. Now we know that there are three persons, the first person, the second person and the third person. Now while speaking about the persons, now in a sentence if there are two type of person, either you can say first person and the third person, then it gets very confusing that which person should be used first and the person which will be followed by the another person. So that is the error. It will be more clear through example. But before example, let me explain you one important rule, that the person that we are speaking to will occur first. The person speaking of will occur in second place. And the person who is speaking, or I can say the speaker, will come at the third place. The person who we are speaking to will come first, the person that we are speaking of will come second, and the person who is speaking, or we can call that person as a speaker, will come at the third place. Example: you and Reena will go along Renu. You and Reena will go along Renu. You and Reena. Now if I am talking about this and this, person speaking to, whom am I speaking to? This person, you. I am speaking to you, therefore you will come at the first place and the person speaking of will come at the second place. You and Reena will go along Renu. This will be, I will not say Reena and you will go along Renu. That will become wrong. You and Reena will go along Renu will be right. Another example: I and Mehrul are good friends. Now looking at the above rule, my sentence I and Mehrul are good friends is considered to be wrong. And why my sentence is wrong? Because the speaker will always come at the third place. If third place I am telling you according to the rule, here what I mean that third place is the last place. That means that the speaker will always come at the last. Mehrul and I are good friends. And this is my correct formation of sentence. Here there is an error I will not start with I. I will always say Mrinal and I are good friends. You and I live together. I and you live together is wrong. You and I live together. That is right. So this order is very important to understand. This is a very important concept of pronouns, and generally lots of mistakes are made in this portion. Now the third concept is that when two subjects are joined together using words such as along with, as well as, together with, or I can say simple with, or I can say except, like, unlike, not more than, etc. When these words are used in order to join the two sentences, in that case, helping verb along with possessive pronoun will be singular. Our helping verb will also be singular. The possessive pronoun will also be singular. This will be best understood through example. So the example can be Shreya along with her friends are going to market. Shreya along with her friends, along with, right? Two subjects, Shreya and friends. So Shreya along with her friends are going to market. This sentence is considered to be wrong. And why this sentence is considered to be wrong? Because whenever it is joined, whenever two subjects is joined with, along with, or any of these, then my helping verb will always be singular. And instead of are, I will be using is. Shreya along with her friends, which means that I am just talking about the first subject. And when I am talking about the first subject, that first subject will be referred to as over here as well. And since the first subject is singular, here also I will be using my singular helping verb. So Shreya along with her friends is going to market is correct, but are being used over here will be wrong. Then Priya unlike her cousins is quite polite. Now Priya unlike her cousins, here I am not talking about cousins. I am just talking about the first person, and the subject over here is Priya, and therefore for Priya I am using my helping verb is. Then I can say I as well as my parents are going to England. I as well as my parents are going to England. Here I am not talking about my parents. I am not pointing to my parents. I am just referring to myself. So I, instead of are, we will be using am. I along with my parents or as well as my parents am going to England. I, as well as my parents, am going to England. This is the correct sentence and this is my wrong sentence. So, here we are talking about all those words, these words. Along with these words, we will always make use of a singular helping verb. Now the next important or we can say a general mistake that is made in pronouns is while using either or neither. Now whenever we are making use of either or neither, always remember that either and neither are used for making comparison between only two people. Here the comparison is made between two people. And when we are comparing two people, then we can make use of words like either or neither. But when there are more than two people, then either and neither is not used. Instead, we say no one, none, or each person. No one, none, each person. It is being used for comparing more than two people. Right? It is used for comparing more than two people. More than two people over here, the example can be neither Neha nor her brother is willing to accept their mistake. Here I am making a comparison between Neha and the brother, which means that we can make use of neither and nor. But when I say neither of the three perfumes are to be found. When I am saying neither of the three perfumes, I look at the number 3. Is the number 3 over here? No. There is only number 2. 2 people, 2 things, 2 animals. Only for that I make use of either or neither. Here there are 3 and I am using neither, which means that my sentence is wrong. And my sentence is wrong, and then I have to take care that comparing more than 2 people or comparing more than 2 things, I will use either no one, none, or each person. The best suitable word is none. I will say none of the 3 perfumes are to be found. And when I say none of the 3 perfumes are to be found, that makes my sentence correct. So here we have generally spoken about those errors which commonly occur in pronouns, and then there are certain rules in order to correct those errors which we have discussed in this video.